And he names Rodri, who you know as a local sort of informal brewmaster who ferments cabbage and fish juice to make a local brew. Fish Jägermeister.
Yeah, Rodri is quite has a lot of skills.
Everyone has a day job, right?
Of course.
So, what does that guy do? Oh, he just does that.
Mm-hmm.
So, So this actually is going to be a matter of you would say, oh, so we're going to go to the place where he makes the brew. Everyone knows where that is, but it's not.
Yeah, what's he gonna do to help me?
Mm-hmm. He says, well, this is some serious business here, and he takes you to a place in the keep where there's like a real medieval key, right, to get in, like in the movies even, right, right, kind of key, and you're kind of like, what's in there? Well, there are a lot of different boxes and chests and different things that look very organized and like a little storeroom. And he takes out one of them and he shows you, and in there are 3 bars of the purest copper you never even imagined it could be that pure.
Okay.
And he says, he closes it and he says, this is going to come back very differently. And somebody with your talents and with demonstrated loyalty, and you kind of get the idea he means like right now. You'll see how Sir Petron has been able to hold this keep against all imaginable dangers for 11 years.
Right.
Kind of sighs a little bit. He's like, God, 11 years. And he realized he does not really have 11 years left. I mean, after 11 more years, and this guy is going to be, in a bed being taken care of and given walks, right?
Yeah.
And he knows it. So right there, his mortality impinges upon him, and he's thinking to himself, and this kid and people like him, that's all we've got. Mm-hmm. Now's the time. So he's taking this very seriously. That riding lessons and stuff that you were given? Well, here's a horse. And you're not going to be galloping anywhere, so there's no need for a roll, but you're going to ride with him. So the two of you are going to ride off that way out of town.
Right.
Incidentally, toward you. So,
how nice.
Yeah. Unbeknownst to everybody involved in this particular moment, but that happens to be where you're going.
Collision course.
Well, he's going that way.
They're going right.
No, they're not doing
same
this.
way. Yeah.
That, but still. There. Now the trouble is, and the reason I wanted to start with you is because becomes very evident that starting in the very early morning, so hours before this, and now becoming very obvious, there are a lot of people. It's not that populated out there, but it seems like it's everyone, are showing up like with crying kids and one chicken, one with its neck wrung, and maybe, a bedroll or something at most. And they all look like they spent the night out on the road, and they all look terrified. And unfortunately, you and Geralt provide the very first point of focus for, a group of people, hastening along the road, and somebody broke their ankle, and it's a mess. There's a dozen people there, and they're wretched and crying and begging for help and babbling about a guy who turned into a monster who killed a dude, and it's and now you're wondering why it was empty. Where you were.
Yeah. I found the people.
Great.
Yeah.
Send them back.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if I wonder how many goats are, very sensitive. Maybe the goats show up first. They're the smartest of the bunch, right?
Yeah.
They're like, we're going there. Who knows?
Can do an awareness?
Before regarding anything specific?
Like, what's going on? Is there any danger nearby that causes them
Oh, I see what you mean. Are you talking about talking with them, or are you sort of just scanning?
Scanning the area.
Okay.
Can I see anything in the...
It's worth a roll. Yeah.
In the trees.
So active. Yeah. That's good.
37, that is marginal success.
Okay. You're quite confident. It's funny. The results for marginal success and marginal failure are kind of the same. You're quite confident everything's fine. I mean, they would be, from your perspective, those two results would be the same.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, if we're playing that way, then I would have rolled.
Yeah.
But we're not. No. So, and you're right.
Yeah.
So far so good. Right. Mm-hmm. So whatever it is, you're not sure, marginal success, right? Yeah. You're thinking, well, I could be wrong, but
the danger seems to not be here, at least right now.
And you could tell Geralt that.
Yeah. I think there doesn't seem to be anything dangerous nearby as of yet, but I'm not sure, and the future can change.
Geralt seems to be very intent on. So the dragons came. Did a dragon get somebody? And they're very clear. What? No. Dragons? What do you know? But that was his go-to. That was the first thing he thought of.
For some reason.
So that's your situation.
Yeah.
Good. Other catch-ups.
Yeah. I believe I know what Oswin will do in the morning. Well, she has probably had a pretty bad night's sleep, actually. We're really worried and thinking a lot about the previous day, and decides to go as early as possible to get an audience with the constable, sort of in a discreet way.
Aha, okay.
And if that is allowed, I don't know if he's a busy man, perhaps, but perhaps it's possible to argue that
you're favored.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're in good credit right now.
Also a female, though. Also a woman.
I understand that, but also David's representative.
Oh, of course. It's true. I was going to say that. I'm actually representing him in this.
Exactly. And so that's no small thing.
Mm-hmm, exactly. But if I'm able to get between four eyes with the constable, and I will tell him in a way that seems to be from what I can gather in my sort of research.
Let me set the scene a little bit, because I have a pretty clear idea of what he's doing. He is at the back of the keep. There's he's broken up the Ivinians away from each other, and he's embedded them in small squads. And some of those squads he has sent out to specific places, particularly this area, just to make a presence, make sure everything's okay. Is there something we can do? Remember, we got you the food yesterday, and we all need to pitch together and have kind of the little talks with important people, such as Sean, which is what you are encountering this morning, is that somebody, a group of these people, 2 or 3 of the guys that you know from the keep know of, and one Ivinian, are having a friendly presence. So nice to hang out at the inn this morning.
I admire my foster mother very much.
Yes.
And I'm in awe and also, of course, in fear of her.
Okay, yeah.
And happy not to have her responsibilities.
Of course.
So therefore, that's what's happened. That is corresponding.
But I am eavesdropping and cleaning.
And so the same thing is going on all morning around town, but as he is sending them off, which is about right now, they are getting a lecture like you have never heard. And it is very much, because he knows the Ivinians are a little grumpy about
Mm-hmm.
the ritual. And he is not putting up with this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, and then if you guys are going to stay here,
Mm.
you're going to learn how we do things. And every one of you lot, speaking to his own men, and I'm holding you responsible for their behavior. And we are going to make sure that this town makes it through the winter. And the only way to do this is to do what I tell you. and so you're kind of like, oh, I'd like to speak with him. And you hear this, and you're like,
Yeah,
whoa,
exactly.
your hair's blown back.
I'm very patiently waiting
Right.
for him to finish. I said nodding. So he's a very reasonable man, the Lord Constable. He's and I will tell him this as soon as possible. I said that was very wise counsel, my Lord Constable. And I would like, if you have a moment, I would just something I found regarding our.
One moment.
Of course.
Yes, Orthas. And Orthas, who I'm trying not to pretend is Peter Lorre. But every time I think of him, he starts looking more like Peter Lorre to me. Well, Jonathan, I was thinking, so he's kind of like, and he goes, yes, I know. I can bet that in a week, at least one of these idiots is going to make a mistake. It's going to cause me trouble. They're fine, strapping lads. And if you need to gut one of them like a pig and roast him on a spit, the next 8th, the 8th of Hallane, he'll be yours. And Orthas says, oh, thank you. Scurries off.
Oh yeah, and Osgun would not speak freely in the presence of the priest of Agric, of course not. But it's a nice opportunity because, as I was going to say, dear Lord Constable, our mutual friend Petro, as you well know, as I have discovered, he is under a certain threat from a certain religious community in this town, namely the cult of Morgoth, who has seemingly some sort of interest in seeing his well-being reduced in the near future. And as we both share a mutual understanding with Petrain, and we both would like to see him succeed in his present task, I would like to suggest that perhaps it's possible to reduce the influence of the Morgoth cult in this town for the time being. And if you may allow me, sir, I have a suggestion. That I saw that you were speaking to the Orphas, the honorable priest of Agric, and I was wondering, he has been very upset recently, as I understand it, because he has not been able to do his religious duties, so to speak, and he's very upset. So I was wondering, because perhaps as it could be interpreted as the nice couple of Hivrik and Alvid, I seem to suspect that they might be responsible for the uprising yesterday. There was sort of rumors around this town, and I suppose that perhaps in true agric fashion, perhaps some justice could be dispensed on these people.
I'm well aware that the finances that feed into Morgoth are at odds with the priorities of David.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to manage problems like that for you.
No, of course not.
Since I'm not quite sure which way he'll jump with this, it's a rhetoric check.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We'll try. Let's see here. That is a marginal success.
Okay.
Just barely.
Against his better judgment, I'll say I'll take that under advisement.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not convinced about the crowd. Well, I'm sure you have your reasons for resenting them, considering they were about to beat you at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not convinced. I want you to stay away from Hivrik and his family.
Mm-hmm.
They are not people to draw. You do not want their attention.
I do not want their association, my lord.
So I think the best thing is for you to tend to keeping certain materials safe, and for you to let me see to Petrain's safety. Although what you've told me is extremely important and I appreciate it. You seem to have a good head on your shoulders with keeping your in good ears.
That is all I can ask for, my lord constable. Petrain's safety is very important to me.
But I don't want you wandering around town at this time. I need you to stay here in the keep, and I need you to go slowly.
I will do so. I can do so.
Yeah, which is the same advice that David gave you too.
Yeah,
which is,
basically.
Yeah, they need you.
Almost like they have spoken to each other.
So,
Very good.
so you're in the middle of these people. I think I want to pick up with. We didn't really do anything.
No. Yes.
So let's do some things.
Yeah.
So yes, you'll head there. You'll find the place.
Yeah.
You'll find that Durnil has not been tended to properly.
Yeah.
Which actually, though, for a Morgathian person, handling the dead is a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I
So-
can embalm him.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a desecration to Morgath, not to.
Okay. So I
Manage
should
your
probably.
So that's one thing.
I should probably wrap me in this cloak. Or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that. And then there's also the, especially if you were going to dedicate his death to Morgoth,
Yeah,
which
I think,
you did.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it might be a good idea to complete the job.
Yeah. Let's do that.
And as far as following the wagon is concerned, that's not going to be a problem.
No,
I mean,
but do I find maybe I dropped a class?
well, that's
or
the
something
very
like that.
that is a very interesting question. He did leave in quite a
I'm thinking that as well.
quite a jolt,
and something bumped into his cart quite.
Right, and
That's also true.
you don't really have luck checks
No.
in this system, and I think I'm trying to figure out just how I make a decision like that. And I am not really sure.
Awareness, perhaps?
Well, no, the awareness would, in this system, I need to know previously whether there's something to
Yeah.
that we don't. There are plenty of systems where an awareness check would kind of conjure it up, but not in this one.
All right.
And so, give me a moment for. The thing is, I mean, I wouldn't be hesitating like this if it weren't at least possible, because it is possible. I know we're going to go to pass me the skill list. And we also know that Petrain had made his shock check.
Yeah.
But the question is whether he would have conducted his departure carefully. And we know he probably didn't do it
didn't sound
carefully.
like that last time.
No, he didn't.
Gotta get out of here.
Exactly. So
Crazy
the
man.
question is just whether he tended to. Give me a moment. I bet there's a thing. I bet there's a skill that we can consult to see whether he performed that skill properly. And give me just one last check, and then otherwise we'll go to his attributes.
Mightn't it be riding?
It would be, I think, close to riding, close enough.
It's not like animal handling or something.
Exactly. That's so. I think that it would be riding is the most adjacent one, and given his background, he's urban. He's not, and remember, he was not doing the wagon driving, right? So, so this was not his skill set. But I don't think that 30% is a bad percent. He's a grown up. He probably picked up a little bit about this through his travels and things.
Yeah.
So it's not.
No.
Yeah. So it's a few percents over opening. So 30. Yep. He got a 13.
Oh.
Marginal success, which means that despite a poor no expertise
Yeah.
involved. But he did manage to keep the cart from swerving and banging into things. So I am sorry to say you're out of luck.
It might be better at packing than
Yeah,
it's at riding.
exactly.
Right.
But should still be tracks.
That's no problem.
That's
Yeah.
not, that's not a problem.
I just want to
The
keep
question is, he wanted to see if something had bounced out.
Yeah, because if I have something of his, I could do psychometry and I could actually track him.
Right.
I can see where he's at the moment. Because
Right.
otherwise I could just follow the road and probably, if I know that he's on his way back, then I could just wait for him.
Right, but you don't.
No,
And also that following the road is not a problem.
No. At
So-
the moment, at least.
right.
So maybe it
Mhm.
takes off somewhere.
Let's take a look at the map. Yeah, and you were at Marine,
Yes,
so it's just a matter of continuing along
somewhere
the coast. Yeah.
Yes,
Into-
yeah.
See Marine there?
No, I don't.
No, it's on the coast.
Yeah, I'm on the coast.
So
but
go
I
from
don't-
Waseda, and we go
Okay, so
here.
It's, okay,
It's just right there.
Yeah.
So then, as you can see from the colors, all you need to go is to the next little, even more wretched hamlet.
Yeah.
And then you will be at the marshes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
But
so
then I'll
you,
do
so you
some-
know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it would be dumb otherwise. I mean, you don't
Yeah,
know
no.
when he swerves off to
No.
go into the marshes, but maybe you'll be able to see.
Yeah, maybe someone.
So
sees
you're going
him
to
or something,
proceed
yeah.
along. That will
Exactly.
be at least
Yeah.
another watch.
Yeah.
I've already
But first
checked.
festival ritual or something like that too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's do that
Yeah.
now. Sorry. Right.
It's had it earlier. There, 19. And I do a marginal fail.
Okay. Right.
So I will
So-
keep doing it, I guess, or something like that.
There's a couple of ways. You can either look at it and say, well, this
Good
is like
enough.
the bed, good enough.
Yeah.
But this is not like the bed, and it's not good
No.
enough. It's up to you. The question is whether you're going to get piety points for this.
Yeah, no, I'll probably give it another go.
Yeah, give it another go.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to say, even if you fail, at least this time you'll get piety
Yeah,
because you put in the time.
Yeah.
We tried.
Yeah.
Unless I set them on
Aim
fire.
for attempt.
It's a critical failure.
Oh, no.
Aim fires up.
You end up doing a very poor job.
Yeah.
But I do think the trying is okay.
But I maybe realize somehow that no, it's the best I can do, but it's not worthy of Morgoth.
Well, hold on. I'm going to talk. I have to think about what a critical failure does.
Yeah.
And then second, I do want to just give you some piety points out of sheer pity. Pity points.
Excellent to raise the corpse well.
Yeah. Whoops. But that, sure.
Oops, my life.
You're going to have to do a penance for this.
Yep.
When you get the chance.
Yeah, but that seems
and
fine.
that's where you'll get the piety
Yeah.
points. And you'll have to talk to a priest.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see. Those that do allow only ordained priests to hear confessions, or you could ask Hivrik or Ilowid for a penance instead,
Yeah.
which you could do much more quickly. The trouble is that Hivrik is unscrupulous and Ilowid is diabolical.
Okay.
So you know these things.
Yeah.
Other people just think she's a little creepy once
Yeah.
in a while. So the question is whether, that's going to be up to you in the fullness of time. But yeah, so what it means is that you end up making it worse.
Yeah.
And end up basically realizing that he's too much of a mess to handle properly, and you can't find a good place to dig, and
I guess think of rolling him down into the ditch or something.
right. Well, you can, but you at least have to cover him with stones,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
hurt your finger. And
Yeah.
see what I mean?
Yeah,
It just
it's a
you're
hassle.
like, this
Yeah.
is just not working out.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So
Still need to have big
you finally
crushing.
realize I'm gonna have to say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But then you're thinking, well, who should I say? Ooh, I wonder. Ooh.
Bad or worse.
Yeah. So that's your situation.
Yep.
I'm pleased.
Yep.
Yeah.